Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Friday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and today I want to talk about a little bit more in depth in the Realmuto trade. I want to talk about some conversations I had on Twitter about Realmuto, and I want to talk about a rumor that I read this morning that I like an awful lot more than sending away big major league pieces to bring back a really good catcher. I want to start out by saying that I do believe and I agree that JT Realmuto is the best catcher in all of baseball. I don't think there should be any question about that. He's a really good player. He's relatively young. He's shown to be, as I said, the best offensive player at his position in baseball, and he's a pretty damn good defender too. That being said, the reason that Realmuto is so highly coveted and is so valued by Major League Baseball is that he's as good as he is for a catcher. Now, let me say that again. He's as good as he is for a catcher. You take the C away from his position and you just look at his numbers as they are. And good player, but is he really worth parting with Brandon Nimmo? Do you honestly believe that the Mets are that much better without Nimmo and with Realmuto? Or is it sort of a wash? You could say the same thing for Conforto. You could say the same thing for Rosario. We're not talking about Mike Trout here. We're not talking about Bryce Harper here or Manny Machado. We're talking about JT Realmuto, who, like I said, good player, but is not the best available player for the Mets to be targeting at this point in time. And I'm 100% not in favor of trading away a strength, which is the young depth in the Mets outfield, which is really, at this point in time, the only shortstop they have on the roster, and Ahmed Rosario. I don't want the Mets trading any of those guys away. I want them to be on the team, because trading them away opens up holes that then need to be filled either by other players who aren't ready to play the positions, or who are out of position, or who are free agents who are going to cost a lot of money, or who are trade partners who are going to cost prospects and other players. I feel the same way about Syndergaard. Trading away Syndergaard and in turning around and signing trading for Corey Kluber is an addition by addition, or subtraction by addition, or whatever. I don't know what the hell the phrase would be, but you're not gaining anything unless the goal is exclusively to restock the farm. You know, the same thing can't be said with the Realmuto thing. You're not restocking anything. You are losing pieces. There's no getting around that. You are losing pieces in trading for JT Realmuto. And I just don't think there's that significant of a bump that he provides, either offensively or defensively, that makes it worth parting with Nimmo, Conforto, or Rosario. And let's be clear, they're not the only pieces that Miami wants back. Jeter wants more. He's going to want Jimenez or Alonso. I'm sorry, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. So I'm hoping that the Mets don't go that direction, and that they instead do what Sandy Alderson has always said, which is sort of like, look to improve the team wherever is available. And that leads me to something I read this morning about Marwin Gonzalez. He is on the Mets radar, and I'm so glad to read that, because in parting with Wilmer Flores, the Mets lost their, quote, utility guy. But Wilmer was never an outfielder, couldn't play the outfield. His range and his knees kept him pretty limited as to his infield positions. So Wilmer Flores was a utility infielder who really was best suited and almost only suited to play first base. We all know that a week ago today he was non-tendered, and the Mets chose not to bring Wilmer Flores back. In his place, though, if the Mets were to go out and sign Marwin Gonzalez, who's a guy that literally can play all over the diamond, who at this point in his career profiles to be a better Ben Zobrist than Ben Zobrist, if that makes any sense. A super utility guy who can play infield, outfield, and can hit. And he can hit. Marwin Gonzalez can hit. I love the idea of signing Marwin Gonzalez. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to the roster. He can play two out of the 3 outfield positions. He can play third base, second base, first base. He might even be able to play shortstop. I really don't know. But when you're looking at it from a versatility standpoint, when you compare what Wilmer could do to what Marwin can do, it's night and day. It's like not even the same category. So I love this idea of having Marwin Gonzalez on the radar. Of course, he's going to be a hot commodity. He's coming off a really good season with the Astros last year. And who's to say that the Astros don't make him an offer to bring him back and keep him? I mean, I wouldn't want to leave Houston if I were a baseball player right now. So that said, though, I do hope the Mets go after him hard and make a hard play for him. Other than that, there hasn't been very much else to talk about. There is one thing, I guess, this week. I think the Mets made it official and announced Chili Davis as the hitting coach, which I think is great. Chili Davis, as I remember from when I was a kid, was always a really solid hitter. And as I understand it from what I've read, he's a pretty solid hitting instructor. So the batting coach for the Mets has been a revolving door for the better part of the decade almost. There have been so many different guys coming in and out of that role. It'll be nice to see if someone can come in and establish himself and stake a claim to that role and that job for more than a season or two. Because I think part of success is repetition and comfortability, and you don't get to repeat anything or get comfortable when you've only got a year or maybe 2 in a chair before someone else replaces you. And then that person ends up in the exact same boat, not able to get comfortable, not able to get anything, make anything stick. So I hope to see Chili Davis succeed in his role as the new Mets hitting instructor. That's going to wrap it up for today. A short video, certainly shorter than the last couple have been over the last week or so. But did want to get those 2 little tidbits in today. Hope the Mets continue to pursue Marwin Gonzalez, and I certainly hope the Mets pull back from the Realmuto option and move ahead with Darno and Plawecki. That'll be it for today. As I said, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met, and as always, let's go Mets.